Hey guys, and welcome to Girls Frontline 2. We do have Daiyan here. She is a single target, burst, and a first striker. Definitely, you'll be surprised with her high mobility and high stability index damage. Let's move to her skills, and we will start off with her basic attack. We have here plucking strings. This is at level 1, so this is a basic attack targeted. Stability damage is 1, selects one enemy target within 6 tiles, and deals physical damage equal to 80% of the attack. Take note that this is of medium ammo. Next up is going to be absolute tuning, active, targeted, and also a cleanse, but this is light ammo. Stability damage is going to be 2, selects one enemy target within 6 tiles and cleanses 1 buff. So she is going to be helpful in the current Gunsmoke boss that we have. For every 3 stacks of tuning, cleanses 1 additional buff and deals physical damage to 150 of the attack to them. So this is up to them. This is going to be your level 1. If it's going to be at level 2, it will add, if there are no buffs, to cleanse, gain 1 stack of tuning after the attack. Next up, another one which is an active buff, King Shang Harmony. This is again at level 2, gains 6 stacks of tuning, but if this is at level 1, this will be 3 stacks of tuning, as well as perfect pitch for 1 turn. In addition, gain an instance of extra command. Next is going to be Ethereal Resonance. This is as well at level 2. We'll discuss the level 1 version of this. This is your ultimate targeted buff. Stability damage is at 2. Selects one enemy target within 6 tiles, dealing physical damage equal to 190% of the attack. For every 1 stack of tuning, reduce the skill's cooldown by 1 turn. After attacking, consumes all stacks of tuning and gains 1 stack of tuning permanently, up to 6 stacks. So if this is level 1, the maximum stacks for permanent tuning is only going to be at 3. So take note of that. Okay, this is also at medium ammo, and the last one is going to be at Swift Harmony. This is at level 1, so your passive in interception. So take note, not only Macchiato has interception, but she also has interception. So at the start of the action, gains 1 point of Confectance Index and 1 stack of tuning. When performing an active attack against a target not protected by cover, gains 1 point of Confectance Index. Okay, just wanna emphasize this. This is the only way of you gaining Confectance point. So the first paragraph, because it's important. Your active buff here needs 4 Confectance Index. So you have to make sure that you trigger your passive as much as often in terms of gaining 2 Confectance Indexes in 1 round, okay, or in 1 turn. Before taking targeted damage, if the number of tuning stacks is greater than 2, launches Interception, dealing light ammo physical damage equal to 150% of attack and 4 points of stability damage, and permanently gains 1 stack of tuning. This can be triggered once per turn. Tuning is going to be at the core of Daiyan's kit. So tuning is going to be increasing crit rate and critical damage by 3, maximum of 10 stacks. So technically that is a maximum 30 crit rate and 30 crit damage. So gains tiles of additional movement after using an active attack. This buff cannot be cleansed. Also, the additional 6 tiles of movement is part or is at the core of Daiyan's kit, because she boasts a lot of mobility before her attack and even after her attack. So additional movement, can move once but cannot use any other commands. Let's take a look at her weapon options, and we're starting off with type 95. So this weapon is going to be pulled in the current manner. We do have Amplify here, level 1. At the start of the unit's action, if there is leftover movement points, increase next instance of damage dealt by 10. And the trait here is going to be, if the unit has full HP at the start of the action, gain 1 random buff for 1 turn. Your second option would be Planeta. Planeta is actually being used currently in my Daiyan, But if you don't have her signature weapon, this is the closest thing to the signature weapon. So Path Patrol, when a kill is made or after the unit's extra action. So definitely Daiyan has extra action, take note of that. Damage dealt by active skill is increased by 5%, stacking up to 5 times. I think this is at 4% if this is at level 1. After reaching 5 stacks, gain 3 tiles of additional movement after the active attack, which makes this gun kinda nearer to her current signature weapon. So for her best fit, we do have Heavy Strings, her signature weapon. Glissando, level 1. Before attacking, there is a 20% chance to cleanse 1 buff from the target. Definitely is going to be helpful if you're looking for additional buff cleanses for a single target. For every 3 tiles moved, damage is increased by 5% up to a maximum of 10%. Critical damage against targets not protected by the cover is increased by 10% as well. So if you do have something extra, definitely go for this gun. This gun is slightly better than Planeta, and the trait that this gun has, if the unit has full HP at the start of the action, gain 1 random buff for 1/3. For your attachments and stat priorities, I would highly suggest that you bring Ballistic Set. So Ballistic Set boosts physical damage by 20%, and also you could consider Phase Strike as your set for your gun or for your weapon. As for the stats, I would highly encourage that you go for attack boost, or you go for attack, or you go for crit rate, because it's important that we increase the damage output of Daiyan, since most of the time she will be dealing with bosses or she will be dealing with high value targets. So for Daiyan's Fortification, I would highly recommend that you go straight to segment 2 or V2. Definitely this is your first step, because segment 1 doesn't really have an impact much on her kit, but for segment 2, the increase in number of tuning stacks gained by 3 is actually going to be a game changer. From 3, she increases that gain to around 6. Next suggestion or step that you might want to consider is also segment 3. So increase the stack limit of the permanent tuning this time by 3 stacks. Although this step is not as important as segment 4, but obviously you're going to be passing by segment 3 or V3. Segment 4, this is where the damage of Daiyan kicks up. So if the number of tuning stacks is greater than 5, increase damage dealt by 40% instead. Instability damage dealt to the attacker before taking targeted damage increased by 2 points. The initial damage multiplier increases by 30%. So segment 4 or V4 is all about increasing her damage output. So if you have extra in terms of pushing her towards V4, definitely go for V4. As for the other segments, you can farm these in a banner rerun, but I would suggest you go for V4 if you have the means to. So segment 5, again, when the number of permanent tuning stacks reaches max, ignores 15% of cover damage reduction when attacking exposed enemies. But again, segment 6, as I mentioned, for every 1 enemy unit that dies on the field, gain 1 stack of tuning permanently. So this skill hastens her tuning. So again, tuning, for every stack of tuning, you get 3% crit, 3% crit damage, 3% crit rate, so 3 each. At 10 stacks, you get 30% crit rate and 30% crit damage. This one is going to make your life very, very easy. So for Daiyan's neural Helix, we will go first with her fixed keys. Starting off with your squad broken. So for every 3 stacks of tuning, cleanses 1 additional buff when using the active skill Absolute Tuning. This is going to be very helpful, especially if bosses require buffs to be cleansed. Next is going to be Unfulfilled Dreams, which is gains 3 points of Confectance Index at the start of the battle, which gives her a bit of a help in terms of gaining Confectance Index when she is starting out. And the last one is going to be Daiyan's mobility is higher than the target, gains 1 stack of tuning before using an active attack. So this is called Serene Serenade. Another option, if you want to give her a bit of mobility, is going to be Echoing Melody. When Daiyan has tuning, increases mobility by 1 more tile. So for her universal keys, the first one coming from Tulolo, attack boost is 5%. When Confectance Index is below max, increases damage dealt by 7%. This is called Afterglow. The second one is Shattering Stone and Silk. Crit rate is at 5%. At the start of the action, gains movement up for 1 turn. This has a cooldown of 1 turn as well. This is the universal key of Daiyan. The third one is the universal key of Sharkery. So crit rate is a 3% if the unit has more than 1 buff. Increased damage dealt by 7%. The fourth universal key that I think you should consider if you have this from Vepli is going to be Heart Melting Strike. Attack boost is 5% if the user mobility is greater than or equal to the target's increased damage dealt by 7%. So again, you have a lot of options on how to modify the damage for Daiyan. For Daiyan's team options, you do have a little bit more flexibility for her. She can be slotted in any team really that you would want. But if you insist on pairing her with somebody, you would have to go with QJ. Again, QJ could play off her in terms of her support. And also, one thing that I remember, you will have to make sure that Daiyan is going to survive and more or less have a healer or somebody who could, have her, survive battles, especially with bosses, because again, Daiyan is very squishy and she would need Sumi for that extra shield or that extra heal. Okay guys, so that is it for Daiyan. Hopefully this guide helped. And again guys, comment down in the comment section, what do you think of Daiyan's build guide? Did it help you? And take care guys, stay safe. This is the Warden and I'm out of here.